Welcome to Planning for Profit, modeling your company for maximum profitability, a 2-day workshop. Planning for profit is for you. Chances are you've dealt with problems within your company. Chances are you've struggled with the day-to-day issues of trying to make payroll, of trying to pay the bills, of trying to keep the ball rolling. Well, if that's you, you're not at all uncommon. We find that 95% or more of all trades company owners used to be either an installer or a technician working for somebody else. And one day we decided that we're going to go into business for ourselves. You're good at what you do. There's no question about that. Your customers tell you every day. The problem is, it's your crap that you're great at. You've never had any training on the numbers side of your business. And now that we own this company, we need to be able to figure out what's going on. Many times we look at it that, well, more sales means more profits. Yet, in my case, sales are up, but profits are down. How can this possibly be happening? If you found yourself in that position, again, planning for profits is for you. There are two main issues that you have to take care of at the foundation of your business. The first of those is obvious: labor pricing. It's the single greatest reason why contractors go out of business today. The second of those is cash flow. You can be priced exactly correct and still go out of business because of cash flow. You have to get these two foundational pieces under control before you can do anything else within your company. So let's take a look at how we're going to do this. Planning for Profit is a 2-day workshop. This is not just a lecture. This is a come in, roll up your sleeves, get your fingers in your numbers, and come out the other end understanding exactly why you need to charge what you do within your company. And hey, you might even have a little bit of fun learning about your company. Now, it doesn't matter if you're just getting started or your company has been here for 4 generations. It doesn't matter if you're $200,000 per year or you're $12 million a year. We all have to deal with the same financial issues within the company. So we're going to start out on day 1 talking about the differences between cash flow and accounting. We have to understand those differences. If we don't, that will create problems within our company. We're going to talk about what you're charging per hour. Are you charging enough money to pay yourself? Ask yourself this question: do you have employees that made more money than you did last year? If you did, my follow-up question is, was that by design or by default? More often than not, it's by default. We ran out of money, and I'm the last one as the owner to be paid. That tells us a little bit something about what you're charging per hour for your company. So we're going to dig into that a little bit. From there, we're going to talk about all the real costs of doing business within your company. We'll talk about equipment replacement costs. After we do that, we're going to stop and enter all the information into our labor pricing for profit software. From there, we're going to talk about labor. We'll talk about billable time, non-billable time, direct labor, indirect labor. We'll get into all of it. We'll get into overhead costs. We'll talk about every aspect of your company from a financial perspective. And you'll be creating a financial model of your company on our labor pricing for profit software, which you'll take home with you at the end of the workshop. We'll also sprinkle in a couple of conversations on day 1 about other aspects of your company. For example, does at least part of your business rely on word-of-mouth advertising? Of course it does. And if that's the case, don't you really want to know what the marketing message is that your customers are spreading about your company? You have to. And so we're going to talk about customer response cards, how to use them, why to use them, how to get the best response from them, and what do we do with them when these cards come back. From that point, then, you'll actually customize your own customer response card, and we'll print up 500 of those for you and send them to you right after the workshop. Now, as I said, you'll be creating a financial model of your company on our labor pricing for profit software. Labor pricing for profits is an easy-to-use planning tool. It's an industry-acclaimed software package that was designed specifically for the trades industry. You've got your profit and loss statement to help you look backwards. That's your history document. But it can't help you look forward. Trying to run your business by using your profit and loss statement is kind of like driving a car looking out the rearview mirror. You can see where you've been, but you have no clue where you're going. Labor pricing for profits will help you look forward 12 months and project into the future what's going to happen with your company. And so now you can start to affect the future as opposed to just simply responding to it when it gets here. When you leave the workshop, you will have in your hands a completed tool to help you run your company. You'll be able to enter a desired net profit that you want to make for your company, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to charge per hour to cover your cost of operation and generate that net profit. You could also go in and tell it what you're charging today, and it'll tell you if you're making money or losing money at that rate. You can also go in and enter in a dollar profit that you want to have at the end of the year, and it'll tell you what you need to charge per hour to get that number. Using the net profit analysis report, you'll be able to see by department or for the company as a whole what my break-even rate is and what I need to charge per hour to hit my desired net profits within the company. The monthly cash flow budget will also show you by department or for the company as a whole what your cash flow will look like for the next year. We'll plot out each individual month on its own, and we'll give you a cumulative total for the year so you can see what the impact of several changes within your company will make to your bottom line at the end of this year. And that's just a sampling of the reports. You'll also have a profit statement, basically a profit and loss statement from a cash flow perspective. Everything we do is going to be done from that cash flow perspective. You have to run your company based on the cash flowing into and out of your checkbook on a regular basis. And so everything we do will focus on and look at it from the same way. We'll give you a field labor summary, let you take a look at your field labor from a little bit different perspective. Really, what is that downtime costing you? We'll give you a labor rate analysis. We'll be able to show you to the penny what makes up your hourly rate. Why do you have to charge what you do? We'll show you exactly what your non-billable time is costing you, and we'll break down your sales goals into bite-sized chunks and tell you how much you have to bill out each day in order to hit your annual goals. We've also built several calculators into the software as well. The Delayed Impact Receivables report will show you the impact of having money sitting out there on your receivables and how that hurts your cash flow. The maintenance agreement pricing will let you know exactly what you should be charging for maintenance agreements within your company. The job pricing calculator will help you profitably price out your jobs before you do them and ensure that you're covering all of your costs of operation and still generating that reasonable profit. The flat rate pricing calculator will help you determine what you need to build into your flat rate pricing for your service department. The retrofit projections calculator will tell you how much small changes within your service department can impact the retrofit side of your business. It's incredible. And the maintenance agreement calculator will tell you how many maintenance agreements you should have for a company your size. And finally, we've also given you several tools to help you track your company from a financial perspective as you go forward. The budget versus actual labor hours report will help you track how many hours you've billed out by month. The software has already helped you create a budget for billable hours throughout the year. And now you can track how many hours you've billed out against that budget very simply. The monthly cash tracking will help you track your cash for the company throughout the year. And the job hours tracking report will help you get your arms around those large jobs that are very labor intensive and to help you keep the hours within budget that you've built into the pricing. You'll go through all of this with lots of one-on-one time with our team. Well, that's a whole lot of information, and you'll have all of it in the palm of your hands by the time you're done with the workshop. You will know exactly what's making money and what's not making money within your company. You'll know exactly what you should be charging per hour. You'll know exactly what your break-even rates are, and you'll have created a month-by-month cash flow budget for your company for the year to come. In addition, you'll know how to properly price out maintenance agreements, and you'll have gone through the what-if process several times to maximize your profitability. Chances are, by the time you get to the end of this day, you'll know more about your company than maybe you even really wanted to know. Now, we don't stop there. You've got all this information available to you, but it doesn't do you any good if you don't understand what it's telling you. So we're going to go through and analyze every single one of these reports. We're going to go through and you'll be looking at your numbers as we go through this information, and you'll know exactly what the software is telling you. As we mentioned, you'll be able to maximize your profitability using what ifs. What if you hire another technician? What if you buy a new truck? What if you can reduce one of your expenses? What has to happen to your hourly rate? What's going to happen to your profitability? And what's going to happen to your cash flow with these changes? You can predict that pretty closely before you actually pull the trigger and make it happen. We're going to talk here also about the 5 service department profit killers. You can be priced exactly correct in your service department and still lose money because of these 5 profit killers. So we're going to define them and talk about what you can do with them. We're going to talk about maintenance agreements. We'll spend a couple of hours. We're going to go through pricing, marketing, creating a flyer, how to sell it, how many maintenance agreements do you need. We're going to get into all of that. And then we're going to give you the tools so you can customize your own trifold flyer for your company. After the workshop, you can send this information back to us, and we'll print up 500 customized brochures specifically for you. That way you can hit the ground running with everything you did at the Planning for Profit workshop. We'll also get into credit cards and using them with your customers. We'll talk about a line of credit and how to properly use it so you don't get into trouble. We'll talk about many other cash flow tips, including the collections and receivables, and give you many tips that you can use to help get the money into the company. Because if you don't get paid for a job, it's worse than never having done it to begin with. You have all the expenses and the investment already put into it. Get paid for the work that you're doing. And then we'll finish up day 2 with a discussion on what you should track on a regular basis. You can't stay at this level of detail all the time. And so we'll talk about things like the cash flow budget, a cash flow summary statement to let you keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening within the company. We'll talk about tracking payables and receivables. We'll talk about tracking billable hours. It's all about the billable hours. And we'll talk about tracking overhead costs. And we're going to give you tools to help you track these things on, very simply, very easily on a day-to-day basis. What's included in the cost? Well, you're going to get that labor pricing for profit software that you're going to use throughout the workshop. And when you're done, that's yours to keep. That software has lifetime support on it. And if you have any questions down the road, by all means, give us a call. You'll receive the 750 customer response cards that we'll print up specifically for you. The 500 custom design maintenance agreement brochures that you'll customize and send back to us after the workshop. Part of running a profitable company is being able to communicate with our employees. And so every attendee will get their own behavioral coaching assessment. And you'll have 53 pages of good fun reading about you. Each company will take home their own company policy manual and several other smaller items that will come with it. Each company will receive $1,200 worth of business building tools that you can start to put to use immediately when you leave the workshop. Each person will also receive their own manual for class. You don't have to worry about sharing with somebody else from your own company. Everybody takes notes a little bit differently. And so the manual that we provide includes all of the information that we cover within the workshop, not just a general outline. It's a pretty thick, pretty heavy-duty manual. And it makes a great reference tool for weeks and months to come after the program. You'll be able to go back to this manual, open it up to a certain page, and know exactly what we talked about in the workshop. Well, that's an overview of the Planning for Profit workshop. But you still might be wondering, well, is this really for me? Well, we can tell you this. This program is perfect if you're at that point in your company where you're ready to move from the field to the office. You just need to know a little bit more about the business side of the business. This will give you the tools that you need to hit the ground running from inside. It's also great for companies that are nearing $1 million in gross sales. One of the toughest places to be in the life of your company is $750,000 to $1.2 million. There's things happening within your company at that point in time that you need to understand. They're going to impact the cash flow and the profitability of the company. More than 70% of all contractors who reach $1 million in gross sales for the first time lose money doing it. Don't fall into that trap. Understand what's going on within your company. And you might even say, well, we're well beyond $1 million. The same thing happens at about $2.5 million, again about $5 million, and again at about $7.5 to $8 million. You run into these profit plateaus where the sales keep climbing, but the profitability just goes away. And you need to know how to work through them. It's also perfect for any company who is in a period of rapid growth. By rapid growth, we mean anything about 15% or more per year. Now, I know there's a big difference between 15% of a $500,000 company and 15% of a $3 million company. But the bottom line remains the same. There are going to be major cash flow issues. And so understand what's going on. Use the tools that we have available to help you work your way through them. It's also a perfect tool for getting the next generation in tune with the past generation. If you're getting ready to hand the baton off to somebody else or looking to sell the company, it's a great way to get all sides communicating exactly the same. There's no better gift that you can give to your son or daughter than to help them understand the number side of the business better than you do today. So what's the investment? The total cost of the Planning for Profit workshop is $2,650 per company. With that, you can bring up to 3 people from your company. We recommend that the owner, the person handling the numbers, and any management people from your company attend the Planning for Profit workshop. And if you register early, there's another bonus. You'll receive $300 towards your travel expenses. So ask us how you can get that. We know you're busy. There's never a great time to be away for training. But if you knew how many times we hear company owners tell us, "Oh man, I wish I'd have done this 5 years ago." It's amazing. This can change your company. Get the tools that you need in place today to help ensure the future of the company. Pick a date, simply set it on your calendar, and work around it. That's a sneak peek at the Planning for Profit workshop, modeling your company for maximum profitability. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 877-202-8891 and find out how you can get registered in the next workshop today.